A few months ago, I saw a post on Instagram that said something along the lines of, what if the word beautiful really means be you to the full? And honestly, something about that really stayed with me because maybe beauty isn't about perfection. Maybe beauty is about what happens when you stop shrinking yourself, when you stop trying to fit into who everyone else wants you to be and start becoming more of who you actually are. Hello and welcome back to Dear Curious Soul. I'm your host, Tashankar, and I'm really excited about today's episode. The word beautiful means full of beauty, and you are a piece of pure beauty. Growing up, people would often say things like, she's so full of herself, as if that were a bad thing. And honestly, I know I've used that phrase myself in the past. But when you really think about it, of course she's full of herself. Who else is she supposed to be full of, if not herself? Why did being fully ourselves become something negative? At some point, many of us learnt that who we naturally are wasn't enough, especially during our teenage years when fitting in suddenly felt like survival. We start dressing like everyone else, doing the same activities as our peers, and sometimes even abandoning the things that we genuinely love just to belong. And during those years, there's so much happening internally too. There's hormonal shifts that affect our self esteem and body image. We begin questioning our beliefs and our values. Social pressure intensifies. Family dynamics change. Cultural expectations grow louder. And so it's no wonder many of us lose our sense of self along the way. So if you've ever wondered, who am I really? What do I actually want? How do I become more fully myself? Then this episode is for you. Self awareness is where it all begins. It's the first step to understanding yourself. And that means having honest conversations with yourself about your values, your beliefs, your dreams, and your desires. Not what society expects of you, not what your family wants for you, not what your partner, culture, friends think you should do. What do you desire for yourself? And look at your habits too. Do they support who you authentically are? Or did you pick them up as a coping mechanism along the way? I had to look honestly at this with alcohol. I realized my drinking was keeping me from fully being myself. I used it to numb things I didn't want to deal with and to avoid certain emotions. I have another episode about my journey of stopping drinking if you're curious to hear more about that. We cannot change what we are not aware of. Most of our beliefs about ourselves were formed by the time we were around 7 years old. Those beliefs then create a lens through which we see ourselves and the world. That lens influences our thoughts, our self talk, our emotions, and eventually our behavior. And the crazy thing is, we think somewhere between 60 and 70,000 thoughts a day. Around 80% of them are negative, and 90% of those are repetitive thoughts that we had yesterday. No wonder so many people feel stuck, stagnant, and disconnected from themselves. Thoughts like, I'm ugly, I'm not good enough, I'm stupid for saying that, who could love me looking like this, I'm a bad person. These thoughts are disempowering and most of the time completely untrue. 7-year-old you may have created those beliefs based on experiences they didn't know how to process. But 7-year-old you didn't know any better. The beautiful thing is that these are your thoughts, which means you have the power to change them. A huge part of becoming self aware is becoming aware of the way you speak to yourself, because no one in this world will ever talk to you as much as you talk to yourself. Are your thoughts supportive or destructive? So many of us walk around with this constant inner critic. I'm such an idiot. I need to be perfect. I'm not enough. And those thoughts keep us from becoming who we truly are. When you catch yourself speaking harshly to yourself, challenge it. Is it really true? Replace, I'm so stupid for doing that, with, oops, I made a mistake and I'm learning from it. That small shift matters. Another way to become more fully you is to reconnect with things that fill you up. Actually, make a list. Think back to the things you loved doing as a child before the world told you who you should be. What made you lose track of time? What made you feel alive? I talk more about this in my episode on reconnecting with your inner child. And honestly, revisiting childhood passions can tell you so much about who you truly are underneath all the conditioning. And look at your strengths too. Sit down and write them out. What are you naturally good at? What energizes you? What comes easily to you? What strengths got you through some of the hardest seasons of your life? Sometimes we feel powerless because we forget how resilient we actually are. And if you're not currently doing the things that light you up, make a plan to bring at least one of them back into your life every day and forgive yourself and stop living in the past. This was a huge one for me. All our lives, we are taught how important it is to forgive other people, but we're rarely taught about how important it is to forgive ourselves. So instead, we replay things over and over in our minds. Things we said, things we didn't say, things we should have said, mistakes we made 10 minutes ago, or mistakes we made 10 years ago. And over time, guilt can turn into shame. And then suddenly, the thing we did or said becomes our identity. And we think, I'm a bad person. I always ruin things. And those beliefs keep us stuck in the past. But when we forgive ourselves, we allow those moments to become lessons instead of life sentences. We can still hold ourselves accountable. We can still learn and grow, but we stop carrying the shame like it's who we are. Not forgiving ourselves creates self contempt. Forgiving ourselves fosters self love. And lately, I've been trying to make self forgiveness part of my daily self care practice. So guilt and shame don't stay trapped in my body. I don't want yesterday's emotions deciding who I get to be today. Another step to take is taking an inventory of the people around you. The people around you matter. Do your relationships lift you up or drain you? There's a saying that you become the 5 people you spend the most time with. And I think there's a lot of truth to that. Look at the people around you. Sometimes we become so focused on fitting into certain friendships, relationships, or social groups that we slowly stop being ourselves. And sometimes part of growth is realizing that not everyone is meant to come with you into your next chapter. Sometimes people just outgrow each other. That's just a part of life. And finally, be with yourself. Take care of yourself. Make self care a priority. Take yourself on dates. Spend time getting to know yourself because throughout your life, people will come and go, but you are the one person who will be there through it all. This relationship, the one you have with yourself, is the most important relationship you'll ever have. Not your relationship with your partner, not your best friend, not even your children. You. The more you love yourself, nurture yourself, and treasure yourself, the more that radiates outward. Beauty really does come from within. Something else that's really important in all of this is regulating your nervous system. Did you know we can experience up to 50 stress responses a day? And even more if we feel lonely, unhappy in our relationships, or stuck in a job we hate. Our brain interprets negative thoughts as threats and activates fight or flight constantly. But the good news is we can teach our bodies safety again. Our body's natural healing and self repair mechanism only works properly when the nervous system feels calm. Some of my favorite ways to regulate my nervous system are meditation or slow, intentional breathing. walking in nature and listening to the birds, or feeling the rain on my face, listening to music, dancing and singing, cuddling my dog. Honestly, animals are so healing. These little moments bring me back to myself. So maybe to be you to the full isn't about becoming someone new. Maybe it's about unlearning everything that taught you not to be yourself in the first place. Maybe it's remembering who you were before the conditioning, before the self doubt, before the comparison, before the need to fit in. You were never meant to spend your whole life trying to be everyone else. Your uniqueness is the point. So this week, I want you to ask yourself, what fills me up? What feels authentic to me? What parts of myself have I abandoned to fit in? And what would it look like to slowly come home to myself again? Because the world doesn't need another copy of someone else. It needs you, fully you. So today and every day, remember to always be you to the full. Thank you for listening with an open mind, a kind heart, and your dear, curious soul. And if you would like to support the podcast, please consider sharing this episode with someone who feels like the right person. It may be exactly what they need to hear at this moment on their journey. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring the whispers of your soul.